Welcome to the Shreveport Connected with Tommy. This video is on your Monday night Raw results and your Superstar spoilers for Thursday of this week. And here's some brief wrestling news going around the world. WWE has a new Diva champion, AJ Lee, and she addressed her win after a Payback pay-per-view, saying that last night was a dream that took 14 years of willpower and hard work to realize. As AJ wrote on Twitter, "I did it my way. This is the proudest day of my life." Follow AJ online at twitter.com WWEAJLee. Twitter.com/WWEAJLee. Here's sincerely hoping that Lee can help make the Divas Championship mean as much as it does to the fans as it does to her. Andrea Leon was featured as Fandango's first dance partner. The brunette dance partner, 20-year-old University of Buffalo student, told Buffalo News reporter Jason Silverstein that the company contacted the Fred Astaire dance studio. She teaches at in search of a ballroom dancer. And she says, by quote, "I actually had no idea who anyone was," unquote. As Lynn said regarding her first WWE appearance, in another quote, "I mean, I was aware of it, like I know who Hulk Hogan is and Andre the Giant is and stuff like that. But my family was never really into it, and we were more of a theater, music, dance type family," unquote. Unlike most wrestling fans, Lynn did not get caught up in the fandangoing craze that started the night after WrestleMania 29. "That's not dancing, not at all," she said. "That's not giving the ballroom world justice. I can teach people how to dance if they want to learn," unquote. Lynn was only supposed to work one show, but when it went well enough, she was hired for a couple more. She rearranged her schedule and the company and ended up working for WWE for 2 months before she was informed that they planned to use Summer Rae as Fandango's dancer going on forward. However, she noted that her departure was open-ended, so it's possible we haven't seen the last of Fandango's brunette dancer. It's a good piece that's definitely worth taking the time to read. CM Punk's days as a teenage backyard wrestler are featured in Chicago tribute story. Punk teamed with backyard wrestlers Mimic and Havoc in a 6-man tag match against Charcoal, Pet, and Brutal Brad in a Lunatic Wrestling Federation event called Bloodbath in Chicago's Tinley Park. The VHS copy of the show popped up on eBay. And he quoted, "He was very positive about LWF stuff." LWF promoter Larry Statkus said of Punk's comments in his WWE-produced DVD, Statkus praised Punk despite saying they no longer communicate, and quoted, "I honestly think his promos are fantastic," unquote, as he said. And quoted again, "His wrestling is fantastic. It's great. It's just bittersweet. You want to be proud, but you can't talk to the guys anymore. Read the full story at ChicagoTribune.com. Statkus said he has roughly 80 LWF tapes in his home and has needled Punk on Twitter of hopes of getting a response. The story also referenced Punk's strained relationship with his older brother, whom Punk accused of stealing money from him. Happy birthday goes to former WWE, WWF, or whatever you will call him, WCW talent, Ultimate Warrior, real name James Hellwig, turned 54 years old on Sunday. He was born June 16, 1959. ECW icon, the Sandman, a.k.a. James Fullington, turned 50 on Sunday. He has made appearances for the Extreme Rising promotion, and the late Buddy Roberts, a.k.a. Dale Hay, was born June 16, 1945. He died November 29, 2012 due to pneumonia. He is not a member of the WWE Hall of Fame, but he and the Freebirds should be. Former pro wrestler and manager Paul Jones, a.k.a. Paul Frederick, celebrated a birthday on Sunday. However, the year he was born is unknown, according to his Wikipedia page. Former WWE wrestler Chuck Palumbo turned 42 on Saturday. He was born June 15, 1971. At last check, Palumbo was laying in the band of and been 3-spoke wheel and running a custom motorcycle business in California. That's the last I heard of him on Facebook. He was still doing his motorcycle business. Late pro wrestler Brad Armstrong, aka Robert James, was born on June 15, 1961. He died November 1st last year. The cause of the death was listed as medical distress. He is the son of Bob Armstrong, and his brothers are Brian, Road Dogg, Jesse James Armstrong, and Scott Armstrong, working for WWE as a referee. Scott Norton turned 53 on Saturday. He was born June 15, 1961. Norton worked a match in All Japan on the group's 40th anniversary tour, and as far as I know, is still there wrestling for All Japan. There were no pro wrestling shows listed for ESPN Classic tonight. Curtis Thompson, Brian White, and Richard Bowers were at the Raw program and posted the following show from Grand Rapids, Michigan for the updates and Superstars taping spoilers. R-Truth defeated Darren Young in match number 1. Match number 2, Layla and Natalya defeated Cameron and Naomi. Are the Funkadactyls heels? They sure acted like it, and Rich noted that both matches were fun but standard, and congratulations to Natalya, as she is formerly engaged to longtime friend and family of Tyson Kidd, also of WWE. They're scheduled to get married sometime this year. Raw opens up with a video package that featured highlights from the WWE Payback pay-per-view with the three falls of the 3 stages of hell match. Michael Cole saw the commentary, as well as JBL and Jerry King Lawler. Ring announcer Justin Roberts starts off the show introducing Ricardo Rodriguez, who stood on the stage with a stupid bucket in hand and introduced the new World Heavyweight Heel Champion in Alberto Del Rio. I cut it short today. Lawler said that he's never seen anyone attack someone coming off a concussion the way that Del Rio did at Payback. Colesall said it was a valiant effort by Dolph Ziggler. Photos aired of their match was shown. JBL said Del Rio did what he had to do to win the championship. Del Rio stood in the ring and asked fans how their weekend was. He referred to himself as the fans' real Superman. Ricardo Rodriguez introduced him again. Del Rio said some of the fans were saying the way he won the title was controversial. He questioned about what the night after WrestleMania when his leg was injured and Dolph Ziggler cashed in his Money in the Bank contract to win the title. Del Rio said that the fans cheered for Ziggler. He said he should probably be offended, but it's okay because he gets it. He said he heard the reaction last night, and every other night there was a small "We Want Ziggler" chant, which I heard was very pretty loud when I caught the show 5 minutes in, and they were already this far into it. Del Rio recalled fighting the ignorant pig, Jack Swagger, who insulted him and the Mexican people, and Del Rio claimed that he heard USA chants during his matches against Swagger. So what are we going to get? The three-men factioning with the foreign already got the what's his name? Jack Swagger's manager, Zeb Coulter, fixing to add what's his face? Formerly of Ring of Honor. Can you think of his name? Used to be Intercontinental Champion or whatever it is. Antonio Cesaro, I think is what his name is. So you're going to get Del Rio, Cesaro, and Swagger in a faction? I don't see it, but... Well, he says, you cheer for a pig and a coward, he asks. I guess that's what America is all about. Pigs and cowards. Del Rio said he fought for the fans for the last 5 months and he didn't get anything. Last night I fought for Alberto Del Rio and it got me this, the title. Del Rio said he's going to be better than a man in this situation and will show his fans that he's the best. And that brings out CM Punk later on, and Del Rio did say he was going to give the fans a second chance to show him the respect he deserves. The fans booed. You don't get it. You and I. And CM Punk's music played, and he walked onto the stage with the Walrus Paul Heyman to a big pop. and then headed to the ring. Punk said the last time they were in the ring together is when Del Rio was holding the WWE Championship in 2011, when he beat him to win the title, and then went on to hold it and he paused and caught the Walrus telling him 434 days. Punk said the problem he has with the people is not what he was out there to do. He took the exception to Del Rio saying he is the best. A loud CM Punk chant broke out from the Chicago crowd, and Punk said that there was only one best in the world, and Del Rio was looking at him. He said he was there to challenge Del Rio. Paul Heyman interrupted Punk before he could even issue the challenge, and Heyman said his client doesn't fight for free. Punk cut off Heyman and asked him what he was doing. Heyman said he didn't talk about this, and Punk is banged up from the night before, and the title wouldn't even be on the line. Punk said he knows that the title wouldn't be on the line, and that Dolph Ziggler gets the rematch that he damn well reserves. Punk said that while Del Rio was stealing a title, Punk was stealing the show along with Chris Jericho. Punk said he wants to face Del Rio in a match. Del Rio told him he doesn't want this. Punk said he didn't want the match. Del Rio said he is the world heavyweight champion. Like I said, you don't want me, he added. Punk asked Ricardo if he had his tights underneath his gear and wanted to fight. Punk says, someone is going to fight me tonight, Punk said. Vicky Guerrero, wink, wink, comes out, Miss Piggy, and Brad Maddox interrupted from the stage, and Vicky was booed heavily, but then said Del Rio doesn't get to make the decision. She said that is as great as a payback was. She can't think of a better way to maintain the moment than to have Del Rio face Punk in the main event. Cole hyped that Vicky also had a surprise for Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, and the entire WWE Universe. Lawler hyped Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan for later in the show. A shot aired to Wade Barrett. Coleslaw said that Barrett would get his rematch against Curtis Axel, and then we get commercial break. Very good opening. Del Rio is so much better as a heel. His promo was really strong here, and he had a great logic regarding the way Dolph Ziggler cashed in the Money in the Bank contract on him while he was wounded. Punk coming out and challenging Del Rio to a match was a nice surprise. And then they amped up the issues with Punk and Heyman there. A new babyface Punk endorsed. New babyface Ziggler. Also liked the hyping that they gave the other matches right out of the gate. Setting up your next pay-per-view and the following pay-per-view. A graphic counted WWE On Demand. Backstage segment, Paul Heyman told CM Punk that he was sorry that he jumped the gun, but he cares about him. Punk said he didn't make it clear. He felt Heyman nearly cost him the match at Payback. He said he's not Brock Lesnar or Curtis Axel, and he doesn't want Heyman at ringside with him anymore. So basically he told the Walrus, you're fired. Punk said he will always be a Paul Heyman guy. Heyman left with a surprised look on his face. The shoe dropped on the Heyman and Punk relationship, and Heyman's next move should be very interesting, as you will see what happens in the main event, or after the main event match. Alright, Wade Barrett standing in the ring as he was introduced for his rematch with Curtis Axel. Interrupted with another, excuse me. She said Barrett's rematch would have to wait because he would be facing her. Big surprise. Match number 1, Christian's return versus Wade Barrett. Christian got a strong reaction for his return. Coleslaw said Christian missed nearly a year of action with a shoulder injury. In the end, Christian hit his finisher and scored a clean pin in a 3-minute and 15-second match. Nice surprise, really early in Raw. It's really cool to see Christian back on TV after all this time. WWE made the right call when it came to giving RVD the bigger hype for his return and advertising it for the next pay-per-view. As much as I really enjoy Christian, RVD returning to Philly for the Money in the Bank is simply more marketable. The announcers hyped that the fans could vote on whether the Bryan versus Randy Orton match should be a no disqualification, no count out, or best of 3 falls match. Then we get a Wyatt family video airing. Commercial break. Footage aired of from the payback kickoff match between Sheamus and Damien Sandow. The announcers put over Sandow. Strong showing, even though it's lost. Sheamus versus Damien Sandow and Cody Rhodes in a handicap match. The announcers questioned why Vicky would put Sheamus in a handicap match. Since I didn't see this match at all, the heels got the better of Sheamus early on. He came back with a forearm strike to Sandow, and then followed up with white noise on Rhodes. Sheamus hit the setup kick. Set up for the bro kick on Cody, but Sandow recovered and rolled up Sheamus for the win. After the match, Sheamus bro kicked Cody Rhodes. So Sandow and Cody Rhodes defeated Sheamus in the handicap match in 3 minutes 25 seconds. Cole saw hype Mark Henry's appearance and acknowledged his retirement tweet. The RVD return video package aired. And it showed Kurt Angle in it, as well as Kurt Angle saying something on Facebook about the pay-per-view, as well as Raw. He commented and said that was weird. That he was seeing that Rob Van Dam kicking him in the face, and he wasn't too happy about it. The live crowd was really into Sheamus tonight. Sandow winning by roll-up is a hit. In a handicap match doesn't make very much sense, but it does continue the program between the two. I strongly dislike the decision to air the RVD video heading into the break without showing the live crowd's reaction. It was red hot at Payback. Why not the television audience hear a similar response from the crowd, which makes it feel better than the video package alone. Backstage, and Brad Maddox spoke with Triple H as Miss Piggy boasted about making the main event match. And Triple H putting over and questioned what her main event would have been if CM Punk hadn't come out, and they didn't have to answer for him. Vicky shifted the focus to bringing Christian back as a surprise. Triple H said Christian has been medically cleared for a month and a half and questioned why they waited so long. Rob Van Dam's return came up, and they tried to take credit. Hunter said he didn't remember them being in on the conversation when he made the deal with them. He told them to make an example of the Shield tonight. He then mockingly congratulated them for putting 3MB on the show and called it a stroke of genius. Backstage, Kane asked Daniel Bryan if they could talk. Bryan said he didn't want to hear any "I told you so" talk. He accused Kane of being happy that Team RK-No lost. Kane said he also lost and questions whether it's a time that they should give Team Hell No another shot. And Daniel Bryan yelled, "No!" As I lose my spot. Okay, Bryan said the only way that he could prove himself is if he does it by himself and wins the WWE Championship. Kane said he wants the WWE Championship too. He asked Bryan if this was it for them. Bryan said he didn't know. Kane said he didn't know either and wished Bryan good luck. Bryan questioned whether he was wishing him luck because he thinks he was the weak link as they go to commercial. Backstage segment was nothing special, but it was notable that Bryan mentioned the WWE Championship. He's been rumored to be facing John Cena for the strap at Money in the Bank. This doesn't guarantee that it's happening, but it will have to be developing quickly if they're going to shift him away from Kane, Orton, and the Shield into the title picture. Highlights aired of Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, and Kane defeating the Shield from SmackDown. Footage aired of Randy Orton telling Josh Matthews that Orton is the weak link and adding that he intends to prove it. Orton said it with a smile, more than in a hellish manner. It came off like he was playing mind games. Ring entrances for the Orton and Daniel Bryan match took place. Lawler announced the poll results. 54% went with no DQ, 36% went with the best of three falls, and 10% voted for no countout. And this one I did not even see at all. Apparently 10% of the WWE universe consists of drooling morons or wise asses who voted for the throwaway poll option. Good for them. Match number 3, Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan in no DQ match. The crowd delivered yes orgasm chants for Daniel Bryan's early strikes, and then yelled no when Orton came back with kicks. And then a Daniel Bryan chant broke out again. Bryan caught Orton with a half crab, but Orton reached the ropes. Coleslaw quickly pointed out that it didn't matter since there were no disqualifications. JBL mocked Lawler for not remembering the stipulation when he was the one who announced it. We found out what Cole's real laugh sounds like rather than the forced one he does way too often. Orton got the female cheers when he stood on the ropes and threw punches down at Bryan, but the men yelled no with each punch he threw. He went to ringside, and then Orton pulled out a kendo stick and struck Daniel Bryan with it. Orton threw Daniel back in the ring and covered him for a 2 count heading into a commercial break. Announcers played up Bryan performing a suicide dive at one point that Orton avoided, causing Bryan to hit the barricade. It became the story of the match. As the trainers tried to check in on Bryan a couple of times, he eventually got a chance to examine Bryan on the floor, and they called the match off. Orton helped Bryan to his feet and hugged him. Bryan and Orton shook hands. Randy Orton defeated Daniel Bryan by referee trainer stoppage in a no DQ match in 14 minutes 40 seconds. It was a bizarre setup, a no DQ match to end with their program, as it has not reached the need for such stipulation. The company had to know that that's what the fans was wanting to vote for. It appeared as though Bryan was hurting, but he walked backstage on his own, so it wasn't neck injury if it was legit. Then they showed a Sean Combs Be a Star video. Combs wore an Invisible Bully t-shirt. I don't even know what that means, but I wish an Invisible Bully would kick his ass. AJ Lee and Big E Langston headed to the ring for their match, and AJ stood in the ring and gloated over her title win, while Big E remained on the floor. Langston said that Dolph wasn't medically cleared, but he will return to share the spotlight with her. AJ backed herself up and then said that if there's a woman who thinks that she can compare to her or is a fraction of what she is, she dares her to come out. That's what I thought. AJ said when no one comes out, then Stephanie McMahon's music played and Lee's expression changed. AJ went into perky mode while saying, "Hi, boss lady. Are you here to congratulate me?" Stephanie endorsed AJ as an underdog and congratulated her for that. However, Stephanie said that AJ is perpetuating a stereotype about women that they want to tear each other down rather than build each other up. Stephanie told AJ to start acting like a champion, and AJ apologized and said that she should be acting like Stephanie, or more like Stephanie. She said that instead of dating a superstar, she should marry one. Stephanie said that if AJ is so brilliant, she should have come up with something original, and AJ raved about her masterpiece being what she did to Caitlyn. Stephanie leaned in and asked AJ if AJ wanted to give her the crazy eyes. Stephanie said that she's a McMahon and no one knows crazy better than they do. Stephanie told AJ that if she wants to be the Divas champion, she should start acting like one, and AJ said she is the Divas champion. She said the only reason Stephanie came out is because AJ is her only younger. And Stephanie held the mic down a bit and told AJ that she might be the Divas champion, but she can take all of that away from her. I'm sorry, you were saying. And Stephanie said into the mic, Caitlyn walked onto the stage with Cameron, Naomi, Natalya, Alicia Fox, and Layla. Stephanie approached the babyface Divas on the stage and said she was going to give Caitlyn a pass because of what she's been through lately. Do not ever interrupt me again, and that goes for all of you. Stephanie said before heading backstage. Caitlyn walked into the ring and said AJ won the Divas Championship. A "you tapped out" chant broke out. Caitlyn said Lee got inside of her head, manipulated her, and humiliated her. She said AJ played her like a puppet and broke her. Caitlyn said it was her turn. Caitlyn rushed the ring and attacked AJ. Big E Langston, who was at ringside the whole time, pulled AJ to ringside, and AJ wanted to get back in the ring. But Big E pulled her back out over his shoulder and headed backstage as they go to commercial break. Did Stephanie hold the mic down because we were supposed to think she broke from the script? She was an all-out bitch to everyone in that segment. The speech about female stereotypes was ridiculous, especially when you consider Steph's behavior in this segment. Though perhaps that's the idea. I wish I could say I was more curious to see where this is going. A graphic noted that the SmackDown was 7 times more socially active than any other show. Coleslaw said Daniel Bryan was still being evaluated for possible nerve damage. As Jerry King Lawler said, that's what he was afraid of, and really, that's what you feared. Match number 4, Dean Ambrose versus Kane for the U.S. Championship. Again, I didn't see this match. Well, my DVR was messed up, as this network has been doing lately. And this time I got proof because after 18 minutes of my show that was recorded, it shut off. Kane jumped out to the early advantage and was setting up for a chokeslam when Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns interfered for the disqualification. Kane fought them off until he was speared by Reigns. Shield members then teamed up for a triple powerbomb on Kane, and announcers played up Triple H's earlier comments to Vicky about sending a message to the Shield. Kane then beat Dean Ambrose in an ODQ title match by disqualification in the U.S. title match in a minute and a half. The shot aired to Mark Henry shaking hands with the Primetime players backstage and Tamina Snuka. He consoled a tearful Darren Young, who applauded Henry as he walked away as they go to commercial. Backstage, we get Miss Piggy Guerrero scolding the Shield for their antics. In the Kane match, Ambrose asked if there will be severe ramifications if she was going to spank them. Ambrose told her from now on she should think about what she's going to do before she does it. Vicky said before she was interrupted, Vince McMahon entered the picture and told the Shield that they remind him of him. He mentioned ruthless aggression and told them to keep it up. Vince said he's never liked the Halloween mask-wearing freak Kane, and Vince told Vicky she looked good and then walked away. But before he could walk away, Triple H has entered the room as well. I know the McMahons have traditionally meant bigger ratings, but the contradicting actions of Hunter and Vince isn't all that compelling. Maybe it will lead somewhere, but the whole thing with Hunter wanting Vicky to make an example of the Shield coming out of nowhere, I don't even like them being reminded that these guys answer to any authority whatsoever. Coleslaw reminded viewers that John Cena would appear on the show. And he hyped the Alberto Del Rio versus CM Punk main event. Another Wyatt family video aired. And this report did not mention anything about the ending of that segment when Triple H was mocking Vince about his decision. And to end it, after they both walked away, Stephanie was saying something. Don't pay any at all attention to them two. You pay attention to me. So they're trying to do the power stick again. Back when they did the ruthless aggression faction, triple power thing with their mother, Vince, and Shane, or whichever one they were doing, I've forgotten. Okay, did that. Okay. Zeb Coulter walked onto the stage and told the fans to open their eyes because he was speaking to them within a country that is under siege. He said that the government is spying on us and lying to us. He complained about foreigners sneaking across the borders like rats in the street. Coulter said that we are at war and sometimes that calls for unusual alliances. Coulter said he and Swagger chose to work with a man in the interest of proving that they are not prejudicial, who speaks 5 languages, but importantly English. Antonio Cesaro came out and said, "We the people." So there you got the joined faction. Antonio Cesaro with Zeb Coulter versus William Regal. And Coulter called Coulter a hypocrite and laughed at him. JBL tried to defend him. Cesaro put Regal away with a neutralizer. Cesaro held up the "Don't tread on me" flag after the match and draped it all over Regal. Cesaro and Coulter put their hands on their hearts and saluted. We the people. And the match only took 2 minutes 45 seconds. The shot aired of John Cena backstage. And Cole said he would be up next. RVD return video was replayed as they go to commercial. I get a kick out of Coulter and Cesaro being paired together. But this feels more like mid-card comedy than anything substantial. I guess that's still better than where Cesaro was a couple of weeks ago. John Cena headed to the ring to mixed reaction as the announcers discussed the 3 stages of hell match. Win over Ryback. And Cole said Ryback refused to be taken to the hospital. But he was treated by the WWE doctors and was not cleared to compete on Raw. The boos got louder once Cena's music stopped, though he also had his supporters. Cena listened to the crowd and said, "They won't stop." Cena said that he loved this. He said everyone was together under one roof because they shared the same interests, loving WWE. He said some people have their favorite superstars, as he has too. Or he has his too. Cena said he also has fans who like him every time he comes out, and he goes to war for them. He said he wanted to take the moment to speak to that group. He said he had a horrible 2012, and he had to come out and beg the fans to just hang in there, and they did. Did I miss a Raw in 2012? Cena said he would be the better man at 3 stages of hell. He delivered the Tampa's hairline. He thanked the fans who was always hung in there, and he said he feels as good as he's ever felt, and he can take care of any challenge to put in front of him. He said his eyes are focused on the Money in the Bank because he will know where his next challenger will come from. He said that there will be no opportune time for the winner to cash in on him. He said that if he looks down and out, the contract holders should think again because he will always be ready. Cena said he knows he won't hold the title forever, but he promised that the next man to hold it would earn it. Our time is now because the champ is here, Cena said, and Cole said he hasn't heard Cena that confident in a long time. And that interruption by Mark Henry play as he walked out and placed his boots on the stage before heading to the ring. JBL assumed that the rumors are true. The announcer said Henry has had a great career. Henry told Cena that he could put his guard down. Henry had tears in his eyes and told Cena that he wanted him to stay because he had something to say. Everyone in the back and all the fans allowed thank you Henry chant broke out. I respect everybody that loves this business, as Henry said. I respect all the people that work for this company because I know how difficult it is. I was a seasoned veteran in 2002 when this man right here came in. A loud thank you Henry chant broke out. Henry said Cena is doing an awesome job. He stopped and wiped tears from his eyes while listening to the chant. Henry joked that if they forget him, they would at least remember his pink coat. A sexual chocolate chant started. He said that at the rate Cena was going, he is going to be the greatest WWE champion of all time. And he said he's been the ECW champion, world heavyweight champion, and the strongest man in the world. And he said it was nothing like the success that Cena had, but he thinks he's done pretty well for himself, which brings me to the reason that I'm out here. And he said to retire from the active roster of WWE, the fans chanted, one more match, one more match. Thank you all, he said. One more match from one of the better crowds that I've been in front of for the last 5 years. Cena gave the WWE Championship to Henry, who held up the title belt. Cena stood on the ring apron and applauded along with the fans. JBL pointed out that it was the only title that Henry hasn't won. Henry said he was a small town Silsbee, Texas boy done proud. He handed the WWE Championship back to Cena and said, it's something you have to earn. Henry said he got the chance to travel the world 4 times over. He said not to cry for him because he's crying enough for everyone. I stand before you a proud, proud man, he said. I'm on the road close to 200 nights a year. My beautiful wife, Jana. You'll be seeing more of me than you want to. He addressed his fanatical wrestling fan son and said some fans have seen him on Twitter. He made a joke about Mae Young's fan. Henry mentioned his little girl, Joanna, and said she cries when he leaves home. Baby, I'm coming home, Henry said. Henry put his hands into the air and the crowd applauded. Cena entered the ring and handed Henry the title belt again. Cena raised in Henry's arm. Henry then suddenly grabbed Cena and scooped him up for the World Strongest Slam. As John Cena was trying to hug him, he gets the World Strongest Slam. Henry took his coat off and then yelled, "You think it's that easy? I've got a lot left in this tank." Henry dropped the title belt on Cena's chest and said, "And that will be mine soon." Henry headed to the backstage and picked up the boots that he placed on the stage earlier. "That's what I do," as Henry yelled. And the announcer talked about how the fans had bought it. Even I bought it, because I was even crying along with him, because he was making a heartfelt speech that he delivered greatly. The Coleslaw said that Henry used his family by making them a part of this. The footage replayed of Henry slamming Cena down. "I may have bought this too," and Henry had the recent Twitter meltdown in which he had said he was not retiring, even so this was a hell of an angle. The live crowd was very respectful when they thought it was legitimate, and they popped big when he performed his finisher on Cena. I also like the way Cena spent most of his time on the apron. It passed as a sign of respect while also making it less obvious, as more viewers would have been waiting for the attack had Cena stayed in there the entire time. Henry showed some incredible range by getting as emotional as he did. An awesome segment, even if you expected that outcome. The Henry attack on Cena was recapped. Backstage segment, Renee Young interviewing Mark Henry, which I missed. I must have went to the bathroom or something. Who told her that he had her and everyone fooled like a bunch of puppets. They told her that the WWE Championship is the only thing he has held, and he's challenging Cena for it. He said that the reason he has two boots is because he's going to leave one of them in Cena's rear end. The announcer spoke about it at ringside, and Lawler said Henry had everyone watching fooled. JBL called it an elaborate hoax, and Coleslaw said he found it disgusting that Henry brought his family into it. If your guard was up all during the Henry retirement angle, then JBL lied about the WWE Championship being the one title that Henry never held. May have foreshadowed it a bit, even if that wasn't the intent. Match number 6, the boringest match, I would say. Chris Jericho versus Heath Slater with Jinder Mahal, Drew McIntyre, and Chris Jericho receiving a big ovation and a loud Y2J chant. Jericho went for the Lion's Top, but McIntyre tripped him up while Jinder Mahal distracted the referee, leading to Slater getting a 2 count. Jericho came back quickly and put Slater away with a codebreaker. He hit the same move on McIntyre afterwards. He may have hit it on Jinder, but the production team missed whatever move that he performed on him, and Jericho won on Heath Slater in 1 minute and 40 seconds. Jericho, who reportedly has a knee injury, used one knee while performing the codebreaker both times. Backstage, Paul Heyman was giving Curtis Axel a pep talk when Max Striker entered the room and asked him about CM Punk no longer wanting him at ringside. Heyman said he's best friends of the best in the world, and true friends know when to give each other a little space. I came in at this segment and seen the rest of the Raw. He asked Striker why he was talking about the new Intercontinental Champion, who was born to be better than perfect, as they go to commercial. A man and woman were shown eating dinner when a man began choking. As this is Sheamus' commercial, Sheamus showed up in his wrestling gear and kicked the choking man in the back. And the man spat out the choking big bite of food. A graphic listed 1-800-FELLA! As the narrator said, help is just a blow kick away. Sheamus sat down to eat with the woman and pretended to be choking himself. And then smiled, just kidding. And better yet, call 1-800-WTF was that. Another name for where he hit fellow. Match number 7, Curtis Axel with Paul Heyman versus the car out and on title match. Miz sat on commentary and said Axel walked out on the Intercontinental Champion at Payback, regardless of what people think about how he won. Miz said Axel has the grit of his grandfather and the finesse of his father and a mean streak. Miz said Axel has been taking shortcuts. Axel put Sin Cara away with a DDT, during which he wrapped his legs around Sin Cara's. Curtis Axel won in 2 minutes 45 seconds. One-sided match designed to showcase Axel. Cole saw hyping CM Punk versus Alberto Del Rio for the main event. The graphic tells that WWE has 9 10 sports DVDs. Daniel Bryan versus Dean Ambrose was advertised for SmackDown. There was no mention of the U.S. title being on the line. Cole saw mentioned Bryan's injury and said Bryan would wrestle if he's healthy enough to compete. Backstage segment, Vince telling Vicky and Brad Maddox that they are doing a great job. He knows that they are stuck between a rock and a hard place with the family at times, but he said that they would be fine if they listened to him. Vince brought up Mark Henry angle and said he was sucked in. He asked what they wanted to do about it. They both said they wanted Cena versus Henry for the WWE Championship for Money in the Bank. Stephanie walked in and told Vicky that she needs to be more assertive. Triple H showed up and recalled telling Vicky that she needed to take a stand with the Shield. After Hunter left, Vince told her to just listen to them. Okay, well, I was mistaken in the earlier segment. And what I said earlier was to this segment. I do apologize. And once again, Vince left. Stephanie put out her arm around Vicky and said she shouldn't be listening to either one of them. You know who to listen to. And she hugged her again and looked straight in her eyes. It was like Vicky was doing that. Like she was embarrassed. I sure hope this McMahon drama is going somewhere, because these skits are painful and aren't doing anything for anybody. Backstage segment, again, Paul Heyman catching up to CM Punk and said that everyone else is trying to stir this up, but he doesn't want to play into it. Heyman said he gets it. He said it's okay and he understands. As unpopular as this may sound, I love you and thank you. As Heyman said before hugging Punk, now go get him. You're the best in the world. Go win this one. You're the best in the world. As they ended that backstage segment, Alberto Del Rio and Ricardo Rodriguez make their entrance for the main event as they go to commercial. And then an ad for SmackDown questions who won Payback matches. And your main event is Alberto Del Rio with Ricardo Rodriguez versus CM Punk in an on-title match. Punk was back to the regular gear and his Gracie Jiu-Jitsu hoodie. Del Rio was aggressive early, and the crowd started a brief CM Punk chat as he sold. Punk came back with a forearm shot. Went for the GTS, but Del Rio slipped away and rolled to ringside. Punk followed up with a suicide dive that connected. Punk sold arm pain based on Del Rio's earlier attack. Ricardo distracted Punk, and Del Rio used the distraction to wrench Punk's arm over the top rope, and Punk sold at ringside, heading into the commercial break. After the break, Del Rio remained in control of the offense, and Punk continued to sell the arm. Tulsa and Bryan suffered a stinger, or said Bryan suffered a stinger during his match with Randy Orton, so he should be able to go for his match against Ambrose on SmackDown, which is going to be taped tomorrow night, Tuesday night. Cole said Bryan was so upset that he got in Triple H's face and screamed at him backstage as it goes past the 10 o'clock hour. Later, Punk started to make his comeback. Del Rio cut him off and then signaled for the cross arm breaker. Punk avoided it and caught Del Rio with a GTS. Del Rio's momentum brought him to the edge of the ring, and he rolled to the floor with Punk attempting to stop him from falling. Ricardo helped Del Rio get to his feet and walked toward the back, and Del Rio was counted out. Dolph Ziggler came from backstage in street clothes and attacked Del Rio from behind. next to the stage and eventually chased them away. As they both got free and went after each other, Dolph got the better of them before Alberto escaped to the back. And so CM Punk defeated Alberto Del Rio in 11 minutes 30 seconds before the count-out victory. Punk was named the winner by count-out, and then Brock Lesnar's music played as the Ziggler and Del Rio were already backstage. Punk's expression changed quickly. Lesnar walked out and glared at Punk, who looked back at him from the floor. Lesnar's music continued to play as he placed pace around the ring. Brock jumped onto the ring apron and received some cheers. The fans in camera view were standing as Lesnar entered the ring. Lesnar grabbed the microphone and the fans got quiet as he approached Punk. Then they stared at each other. Brock teased saying something, but he grabbed Punk and F5'd him instead. Lesnar looked into the camera and smiled. Brock's music played and he left the ring saying nothing. Lesnar stood on the floor in the entryway aisle and smirked, and he looked back at Punk to close the show. The camera got a great show of Brock glaring while Punk could be seen writhing in pain on the big screen behind him. An awesome ending. Punk vs. Lesnar is one of the big matches I was hoping to see during Brock's latest run with the company. The dynamic is perfect with Punk playing the undersized babyface to a monster heel Lesnar. Heyman wasn't present for the attack, so I assume he will act like he had nothing to do with Brock's action. That's a pretty big match for Money in the Bank, but it's also the type of match that could be overshadowed at the pay-per-view and make some fans wait for SummerSlam if they're holding out that long. Either way, I'm already looking forward to their match. Curtis Thompson attended Monday's Raw in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and said the following report on the dark match main event. John Cena defeated Ryback in a tables match to retain the WWE Championship. Cena sure got a lot of pops today. At one point, Ryback flipped a table for no reason. A table was lying against the turnbuckle for a long period of time. Eventually, Cena reversed the position and used an attitude adjustment to drive Ryback through the table. Ryback must have found a late-night doctor to give him a medical clearance. As they stated on Raw, he was not medically cleared to wrestle on the Raw TV show. Well, I guess these reporters don't know that TV is TV and dark matches are dark matches. Okay, Randy Orton was interviewed on the Sam Roberts show on Sirius XM Satellite Radio and was asked how close he's come to losing his job. I think I was just a little impulsive with my decision making, and I wouldn't really think about it would affect me or the others around me being a dad now. That was the biggest thing when I became a father. I can't do this stupid shit anymore because I have a kid. What am I doing? So it was like, bam, stop then. Yes, to answer your question, yes, there were probably half of a dozen times where I thought this is it. Orton also spoke about CM Punk being upset about creative. Sure, but Punk likes to be upset about shit. About anything, he said. Orton said that his thing is always kind to have a chip on his shoulder. It's funny because I think I was the guy that always had the chip on my shoulder, but I think my demons were a little deeper than his. The guy's never had a drink of alcohol. How up can you be? Can he really be? You know, I get it. I think he's done a great job. He's obviously been awesome on the stick. He's awesome in the ring too. You can view the full interview on YouTube, and I will post the link right here at this point. And it's nearly 30 minutes in studio video with Orton. That's worth going out of your way to watch. Orton spoke about his past issues, being young by usual veteran status, not feeling like he was ready for his first WWE Championship run, fatherhood, the Punk kick being banned, giving Vince McMahon a concussion, crazy online fan fiction, that's the laugh out loud funny, and more. And your number 2, what happened after Raw? John Cena defeated Ryback in a tables match to retain the WWE title. A table was lying against the turnbuckle and eventually Cena reversed a hold then use the attitude adjustment to drive right back through it. One was the basic and one was more. That's why I always give a little bit more of the stuff. Well, that's it for my Monday Night Raw results. Thanks for viewing. Peace out. I can just close it. There would be. Mouse will jump all over the place like it's not even reacting.